All right, and welcome to the inaugural live episode of RatG, Ryan's All Things Geek on 103.7 FM CFBU, or you can listen to us at cfbu.ca. I'm your host, Ryan Fleming, and I have with us our very special co-host this week, recent graduate of Brock University, pop culture major. We've got the one and only Shannon. I'll let you give your last name. I don't want to butcher it at all.
Shannon McFarlane Sawchuk. Hello, everybody.
All right. So we're really excited to be having this first show with you guys. We've got a really good topic, I think, this week. We've done a bit of our own homework here, if you want to call it that. This week we're going to talk about, as we usually do, we do talk a lot about comic book movies. This week there's been a lot of action in the Batman v Superman Dawn of Justice movie that's coming up. Yeah, we had some new casting news this week. Game of Thrones alumni and Stargate Atlantis alumni, and actually Baywatch Hawaii alumni. Jason Momoa has joined the cast in a pretty controversial casting, I think. Like with most of the castings in this movie, they cast him as Aquaman, who is not everybody's favorite comic book character.
Every time I think of Aquaman, I think of that silly little meme. The Aquaman has lame powers. They said he was the worst thing, and then he's coming out of the ocean riding Cthulhu.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, if you can handle Cthulhu, you're pretty bad at BA, as they say. Just to watch ourselves there, forgetting we're on live.
Yeah.
So, what do you think of the casting choice? Though it is a little controversial.
I was doing a little research this morning. I thought it was pretty cool. I like how they're using the newest Superman, who just continued from Man of Steel.
Right, Henry Cavill.
And I guess the plot's going to semi-continue with what happened with him in the other movie. And, even though he's defeated his arch nemesis,
right,
General Zod. But I guess he's going to, it's going to continue following him, struggle to fit into humanity or whatever, now that everyone knows that he's this person not from Earth.
Right, understandable.
Yeah.
And you know what? It's from what else I've also heard. It's going to be a lot of a follow-up from the mega destruction that was unleashed on Metropolis, and I think that's going to be the end for Batman coming in, because you did see a Wayne satellite get destroyed during end of the show. So it was. I think what they're going to do, they're going to follow that going on. And it's going to bring Bruce Wayne into the point where, Batman has been going for a while, yes, but now he's going to be maybe going after Superman. And this is also going to bring in Lex Luthor as well, which I'm kind of excited about. A lot of people aren't big fans of the casting of Jesse Eisenberg.
Yeah, I've seen a couple of complaints.
Yeah, especially now I've heard a lot of complaints because, he's too skinny, he's too Facebook-ish, from the Social Network. I actually think it's a great idea from the Social Network, just mostly because, if you look at his portrayal of Mark Zuckerberg in that movie, he was kind of that tycoon that was cold, calculating, like you would see. And I think that's kind of what he's going to be going after in this movie as well.
Yeah, there's always that. I find fans associate their actors with certain people, and then once they've hit that role, they're like, no, he can't do this part now or that part now. Just like, Tobey Maguire and Spider-Man and the new guy now, his name.
Yeah, Andrew Garfield.
I apologize. I know we're talking about DC. I bring up Marvel. I'm a Marvel girl.
And there's nothing wrong with that at all, because as we've seen actually this week with the new rankings for the top grossing movies of 2014, all three movies are Marvel based.
Does not surprise me.
No, not at all. And I think that's a really great thing for us geeks. I think this is telling DC and Warner Brothers, though, they really need to step their game up with this next movie. What are you most excited about with Batman v Superman?
I think I was actually really excited about Wonder Woman. I quite like her.
Yeah, me too.
Yes, finally, a kick butt female.
Yeah, and now what about Gal Gadot? Do you know much about Gal Gadot at all?
No, I don't. I'm like, who is this?
Yeah, she hasn't done too much acting-wise. She was in the last Fast and the Furious movie. she died in the movie. Spoiler alert. But she was very good. I really appreciated her acting in that movie, and she did a lot of action sequences in it as well, which I think that helps a lot.
Yeah, that'll help her, I think. Yeah.
And an unbeknownst fact to a lot of people also is Gal Gadot spent 2 years in the Israeli army, which most citizens have to over there as well. But that also gives her a little bit of legitimacy for portraying Wonder Woman. Yeah. Now, a lot of the biggest complaints I guess I've heard from people concerning Gal Gadot playing Wonder Woman, though, is her figure. She's very skinny and very slim.
Yeah.
Not Amazonian.
Welcome to Hollywood, where we're not gonna follow the comics. No, we want a skinny woman playing it instead of a big, Come on, she's Amazon.
Yeah.
So they're supposed to be.
And a goddess to boot on top of all that. She's been doing, like I said, she's been working out quite a bit, which I do like the fact that she's putting so much into the character.
Yeah.
Which
that's good, yeah.
Wonder Woman needs that. Wonder Woman does need that look where she does look intimidating. As much as she is one of the most beautiful women that you would see on the face of the planet, she also has have that look like, she's going to kick your butt. You're going to know about it. So I do really hope she can pull it off. From the early pictures I've seen, she still looks a little on the slim side to be playing an Amazon. But I'm not going to hold that against her. I'm going to reserve judgment until I see the movie.
I'm interested to see the costumes that are going to come out of this movie too. I'm a big prop costume geek myself, so.
Now, do you want to see the classic look for Wonder Woman, like wearing the classic boutiere?
I don't know. I guess we'll have to see what happens. I don't really want to watch a half naked girl running around on the screen. I wouldn't mind seeing her in some really cool armor or something.
Right, kind of like the Injustice games they've got. Yeah, I like that as well too, and I think that's what we're going to see more of when she's in her costume. I don't know how much of Wonder Woman in costume we're actually going to get to see in this movie. Tell you the truth, I'm thinking her role is going to be more of.
I'm thinking they're just going
to touch on that a little bit. Yeah. You see her quickly.
Yeah. Just setting her up for the Justice League movie that's supposed to follow this.
Right, which is going to be...
Spoiler alert!
Yeah, for those of you who didn't see the DC release sheet, Justice League movie will be coming out. And for those of you that think this is Man of Steel 2, the Batman v Superman movie, it actually isn't, because they did announce that there will be a Man of Steel 2 movie to follow as well as a Batman solo movie. And there's talks of Ben Affleck, who is playing Batman in this movie, much to a lot of people's chagrin, not mine. There's a lot of talk that he's going to take over as director of the Batman solo movie, and I think that's the best way to go, because some of his best work has been when he directs himself, and even when he directed other people. He's a great director. He's got to be a great motivator, I'd imagine, on set. So, what do you think? Any of those appeal to you at all, or?
Yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing the Justice League. They've done the Avengers. I was pretty blown away by the Avengers. I'd love to see DC compete here. Get a couple of them. Like I said, I'm a Marvel girl, but I do follow DC too. Batgirl fan. I want to see Batgirl.
Oh yeah, me too. If they ever to make a Batgirl movie, and this just goes as a shout out to our comic book fans there, I would hope that they have Gail Simone write it like she does. Yeah. She does the comics. She is fabulous. She is one of my top 3 probably writers in all of comics. So yeah. And that's a shout. If you're ever listening to the show, Gail, feel free to come on. But yeah, no, I'm pretty excited for Justice League as well. I'm a little taken aback from some of the words that David S. Goyer, who's the lead man at Warner Brothers, in DC, who's in charge of the movie side of things, and he had said that you couldn't do a Martian Manhunter. Martian Manhunter couldn't be added to the Justice League movie because audiences weren't ready for it. And then I turn around and I look at the commercial for Guardians of the Galaxy, and they have a talking tree and a talking raccoon, and they're full in. They're like, oh yeah, this is who we've got, and they're fantastic, and you're gonna love them. Yeah. And it looks like it's gonna be a huge success.
I'm excited. That's coming out around my birthday, so I'm pretty excited to see that one.
Nice. Yeah, me too.
Just for Rocket.
Rocket raccoon.
Come on, Rocket, giant, got two-handed
guns. Yeah. He's got the double gun salute going all the time, and I think for all intents and purposes, and I know I'm going out on a limb here, but I think he's going to end up stealing the show. I think that's going to be a fan favorite for everybody.
I know the actor playing him's pretty favorable, so.
Bradley Cooper?
Yeah.
That's right. And then they went out all the way, and I know we are talking Batman v Superman, but this is what we do on this show is we kind of cover everything.
Yeah.
And they went and they got Vin Diesel to play the part of Groot.
I didn't even know that until I saw the preview. I'm like, Vin Diesel, what?
Yeah, and anyone who reads Guardians of the Galaxy, this is kind of strange because the only words that Groot says is "I am Groot." That's it. It's not a very large vocabulary.
He looks like he talks more in the movie, though.
No,
Yeah, no?
he does talk a lot, but that's the same thing he says all the time,
Oh,
and it
okay.
just has a lot of different meanings. You know?
Okay.
So it's quite worse than the English language, as they say. So, but yeah, no, I'm really looking forward to see if DC can come on par, like with David Goyer talking about, you know, not being able to have certain iconic characters like the Martian Manhunter be a part of the Justice League movie. It does scare me a little bit, especially with knowing he was the one behind Man of Steel.
Yeah.
And most fans know I was not a fan of that movie at all.
I find it a little dry.
Yeah, a little dry and a little against character in a lot of ways, and it was really thrown together quickly, which is my biggest fear for Batman v Superman.
Yeah.
Now, one of the questions that pops up all the time, and we actually got the question written into us from Will Mahoney, was actually about that. Like, are we afraid that they might be oversaturating this Batman v Superman movie? Because there are so many people that are in it. Like when we were checking out the IMDb page, like we couldn't believe everyone that's been added to it. You've got the newest acquisition, which is Jason Momoa as Aquaman, the traditional Aquaman as well. He's playing Arthur Curry, which is the blonde-haired, blue-eyed guy. You've got Amy Adams as Lois Lane, Henry Cavill as Superman, Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman, Ben Affleck as Bruce Wayne. You've got Diane Lane back playing Martha Kent. You've got Jesse Eisenberg as Lex Luthor. And then the incomparable, one of my favorite actors, Jeremy Irons playing Alfred, which I think is a great casting. I was kind of hoping they were going to go with John Cleese. Because I think he would have been the proper age to play an older Batman's older butler, Alfred. But Jeremy Irons is a fantastic actor, and I've got no problem with that. And you've got Lawrence Fishburne coming back as Perry White, and you know there's a lot of other people that have been added. But there's so many big characters like cyborgs in this movie. Aquaman, you know, Lex Luthor. Do we have too many people in this movie? Can they pull off a good movie?
I think they could, but like I'm thinking it's seeing as they're all just going to be quick little cameos, like we were talking about before we started the show. Like Wonder Woman, she may only be in there for a couple seconds, and then whoever else and stuff. So they're setting themselves up for the next movie, but maybe trying to cram too much into one at the same time. So can't please everyone, but everyone wants to see all their favorite superheroes.
Exactly. Nobody wants to wait for the Justice League movie first to come out. You know, or they don't want to wait for that to come out before they see these characters. Now, like we did mention earlier on, I do believe it is just going to be, you know, a quick teaser, maybe 5 minutes with Wonder Woman, 5 minutes with Aquaman, and maybe you'll see how Cyborg gets his origin because, you know, in the new 52, it's a part of an accident where Darkseid comes along and, you know, his father saves him.
Unless they do the famous, you know, Marvel thing at the end of the movie, you know, you got to sit through all the credits and then you got to wait and see the next character and what's going on next.
I love the Easter eggs that Marvel does. And I love all movies that do that. So I do hope that they continue that as well, because it is that little sneak peek that gets you wanting to see the next show. Yeah. And I think that I think the next way they are going to go is with the Batman movie, the Batman Solo. That would be the best bet.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think we're in for some good times for comic book movies, especially with this movie now. But we're coming close to our first break. Just wanted to get a couple questions in before that, just from Shannon here. Now, as a pop culture major, now how much focus in your course was on things of like the comic book movie genre?
I did in first year. This was like way back 2009. We did. I did some film courses where they were pretty good. Lots of old things. My favorite part was when I got to about, you know, year 4, year 5, where I did an audience study class.
Right.
So I did a lot of stuff relating to zombies, like zombie fans and stuff. I went out and, I partook in my first zombie walk, which I won.
Very nice.
And yeah, so I just, I talked to the fans and stuff, and I wrote a really nice paper on it and stuff. I like to interact with fandom. Like, my favorite thing to research is fandom.
Nice. So what's the fascination then with the fandom?
I just, I like to see, like, what fans are doing to take their favorite thing to the next level or whatever. Like, video games, like I was researching, some video game companies, they really like to listen to their fans, and they'll incorporate little things that fans have asked for, or,
Nice.
they build off, the companies will go and build off stories to continue so that,
Some of our old stories never die that way.
Yeah.
Like the Goonies sequel that's supposedly coming.
Yeah, I saw that, yeah.
Well, that's awesome, yeah. So a lot of it sounds like is the psychology too of the fans, right? Yeah. Is what kind of appeals to you, which is kind of cool too when you think about it, because a lot of us fans are considered a little bit out there, as they say.
There's fans, and then there's enthusiasts, and then there's complete, psychopaths.
Exactly. And a lot of the people on our page fall under all 3 categories.
Sorry, guys.
Including myself, your fearless leader. No. But yeah. So that's great. We're going to get back into a lot more Batman v Superman once we get back from the break. I'd also like to get into some more pop culture references. And of course, we've got some questions that have come from our page there. So we're going to get to all those as well. Just want to say thanks to everybody for listening, and we'll be back in a couple minutes.
A team of great people helped me beat depression.
In 2000, Toronto Maple Leaf Ron Ellis received a Courage to Come Back award from the Centre for Addiction and Mental Health for his defeat of clinical depression.
It was tougher than winning the Stanley Cup.
CAMH, the Centre for Addiction and Mental Health, helps people overcome addiction and mental illness. For help, call 1-800-463-6273. CAMH. We're transforming lives.
Chaque lundi de 17 à 18h sur CFBU 103.7 FM. Tic-tac, poétique et portrait avec Clémence Prade. L'émission en français qui vous parle de littérature et d'art et qui fait parler les francophones d'ici. Sans oublier la musique.
现在在干什么？有没有听我们的节目？这里是调频103.7兆赫布鲁克大学广播电台 CFBU。
Welcome back to Ryan's All Things Geek. I'm your fearless host from RatG, Ryan Fleming, and I'm here with my co-host Shannon. And if you guys ever want to be a part of our page, just look us up on Facebook. That's at Ryan's All Things Geek. You can't miss us. We have all the up-to-date stuff on everything geek. It's not just comic book movies and related. We touch on everything from wrestling to new movies to sci-fi. Any Doctor Who fans out there, you're going to get a lot of love on this page as well. And we always like to get into the latest of science and technology as well. With that said, we are back, and we'd like to get into a little bit more Batman v Superman, just to kind of keep us going there. Now, Shannon, one thing I did really, really want to see in this new movie is a great villain. Now, I know we have Lex Luthor. I don't think we're going to get much of him as being a villain in this one. I think this is going to be the origin of Lex Luthor. He still has his hair at this point, which is concurrent with the actual comic book for those who've actually read it. He did have hair to start with, loses it in an experiment when Superman was there, and that's what originally started their hate for each other. Yeah. Well, his hate for Superman. But I'm hoping we get somebody that is so BA, that it's what summons the actual Justice League and brings them together. But I'm hoping it's not Darkseid, at least not quite yet, which is their biggest baddie.
I would love to see the Joker.
Really?
Yeah.
Now, there is some talk that the Joker might make an appearance in there. The actor Scott McNairy is being cast in a secret role.
Uh-huh.
Now, can anyone live up to Heath Ledger?
I don't know. I
Yeah.
don't think so.
No,
I think he's kind of set the bar for Joker.
yeah, and I kind of find it a little sad too. I loved Heath Ledger's performance as the Joker. I was not a big fan, or actually, let me not say a big fan. I didn't really find his Joker, though, to be the quintessential Joker, though.
Yeah.
Because the Joker in the comic books and in all the cartoons and the original movies was laughing and smiling all the time. And this Joker was pretty depressed and almost emo-ish, you know?
Yeah, the whole smudgy.
Exactly. You know how I got these scars on my face? I always say to people, if they were ever to make a story and how the Joker and Harley Quinn had a child, it would have been Heath Ledger's Joker, you know? You know how I got these scars here? My daddy was the real Joker, you know? But, yeah, I think the Joker's a very interesting and very possible villain for it. But is he big enough to bring together the Justice League?
I don't think so.
Yeah, me neither.
The big thing, I would think, maybe the movie ends like, well, they're saying this movie's supposed to be the one that leads to the Justice League, hence the title.
Right.
So I don't know, maybe at the end they'll have some big BA villain pop up saying, and then end scene.
Right.
And we have to wait another year and a half for the next movie.
And then all the rumors start again at that point,
Yep.
and all us fanboys and fangirls start going, okay, who's it going to be? Who's it going to be? All the conjecture gets in there. Yeah, no, I would like it to be someone aside from Darkseid, who, for those of you who don't know who Darkseid is this despot ruler that runs a planet called Apocalypse, and it is all just death, despair, and torture. If you could imagine hell on Earth.
Right on.
Yeah, yes, that's Shannon McFarlane. Just for those of you out there who wanted to know, yeah, no, it's a very scary place to be. You know, if you were to be a resident of this apocalypse planet. And in the comic books, he comes over and tries to conquer Earth, and it takes the combined forces of the Justice League to hold him off. Now, I think that's inevitable. That's what's going to be happening in the Justice League movie, I would imagine. But I really don't want to see him in Batman v Superman. Maybe just a glimpse, like
maybe
the Easter
end
egg.
The movie with him, he'll be the little Easter egg at the end.
Yeah, exactly. After all the credits are over, like you saw Thanos at the end of the first. Was it the end of the first Avengers movie? Yeah.
Yeah.
When they got the scepter back from Loki, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, so I think that would be really cool. We do need that big bad villain baddie to come up for us. Now, aside from,
I think when I was reading on the internet, the rumors were that like Batman and Superman are going to be like the villains, kind of, even though they're good, because they're going to be enemies and it's going to be them fighting
right
in the beginning. So
yeah, I've heard that. I've heard similar as well, that Batman versus Superman was more of it, as opposed to the Batman v Superman, which is kind of, like the Roe v Wade.
Yeah.
But I could see that happening. But I could only see that going on for so long, like at the beginning of the Avengers, because that's how most superhero team-ups start. Superheroes get together, and then they end up fighting at first, and then, under some kind of misunderstanding.
I'm thinking of the Avengers and Hulk and Thor
Exactly.
kicking each other's butts.
Yeah, exactly.
They even emphasize it in the cartoon. Yes, I watch cartoons.
You wouldn't be on the show if not. Just going to put that out there. Now, that actually brings up a good point. Now, we... with all these movies that have come out, we have a hard time with them sticking to continuity when it comes to the comic books and stuff like that. Some of them seem to stick better to the cartoons.
Yeah.
Like with Fox, they did the Days of Future Past. And I think they took that more from the Fox animated series back in the 90s. And I know this is a long time ago for you.
I've seen it. Yeah.
And I think that's the way they might be going actually with the Apocalypse storyline as well. Do you think it's a little bit easier for them to do it that way because it's something that people had seen already, and it was more people watched the cartoon than read the comic, I would assume.
I think so, yeah. So, like I said, we were talking about this earlier, like, it's either the complaint is, oh, you didn't follow the comic enough, or you followed the comic too much, so it was boring. but Hollywood can't please everyone. Maybe eventually they'll get somewhere in between where oh, that was an awesome movie, it was perfect, enough plot, enough villain, enough this, enough that.
Right, which is you're looking for that Goldilocks zone for the movies, right?
Yeah.
Which is easier said than done, and that's the same thing with anything in life. You can't please everybody all the time.
There's like 20 different versions, like cartoons of Spider-Man. How many Batmans have they done?
Oh, exactly.
X-Men. I remember there's at least, I can think of like 3 different X-Men's that I've all watched or whatever. And then they went on like Cartoon Network and all that with Teen Titans and
oh, right. And you know what? There's been a lot of to even continue on from that with the cartoon side of things. There's been a lot of comic book characters that have been created actually on a cartoon that have made the jump to comic books, and that you're now seeing in the movies as well, or being talked about, like at least on television. The first one that always comes to my mind is probably everybody's created from a cartoon and moved to a comic character, and that's Harley Quinn.
Yeah.
Anyone who knows comics or knows cartoons, or at least the Batman mythos, knows of Harley Quinn. She's the court jester. She's like Joker's girlfriend.
Yeah.
She's a former psychiatrist, actually, of the Joker at Arkham Asylum, and he just gets under her skin so much, or into her brain, that he actually turns her quite crazy as well.
Well, hey, if Batman's gonna have a female sidekick, why not give one to the villain too?
Exactly.
I'm just rooting here. Like, I love Batgirl and I love Harley Quinn. So.
And you know what? Harley Quinn's become so big that she's actually become a persona onto herself.
Yeah.
Where she's actually got her own solo comic book out right now by Jimmy Palamonti, who's one of my favorite writers as well. And I gotta tell you, I read it all the time, and it's one of the funniest stories ever. The only thing I'm not caring too much about is they've stolen a lot from Deadpool, where she breaks the fourth wall and talks to the audience a lot, the reader. Which it's cool for Deadpool, and it was cool for Zach Morris on Saved by the Bell, but that's about it for me for now. But there was her. There was Mercy from Lex Luthor, his bodyguard on the cartoon. She's made the leap over to comics as well. She'll be I'm almost positive she'll be in the movie. And we see these all the time. I'm hoping to see the opposite now. I'm hoping we're going to get a new character from the movie that's going to make the transition to the comic, and then maybe exactly. But could be wishful thinking. either way we go about it. I just wonder if we got any questions there from anybody.
I'm not seeing anything unless.
Well, we did get that one question there by Will concerning Constantine.
Yeah.
What was that he asked us there?
He says, what's your opinion on Constantine not being allowed to smoke on his show?
Right. Okay. So NBC has the rights to John Constantine, or Hellblazer, which is a comic that's been going on for years. Was with Vertigo Comics. Now it's with DC. John Constantine is an English supernatural detective, I guess is the best way to explain it, who is known for his heavy smoking, chain smoking, his brash and arrogant attitude, and he's a lot like House. For the people who've watched House, he's a lot like him. He's very in your face and very snarky, can we say? But he is known for his trench coat and for smoking cigarettes. And because this is an NBC show, I guess they've decided not to have him be a smoker. Now, I'm okay with it. I guess I'm a little impartial to it. I guess it is his forte. Or not his forte, but just his niche. It's that thing that you know him by. But I have a lot of high hopes for this show, and I'm hoping that the actor that's portraying him, who I actually don't know, he's a kind of relative unknown. I'm hoping he's just going to own the character so much that people aren't going to notice it. I think as long as he plays it with the brash attitude.
Yeah. I think if they keep the attitude and everything else, then I think watch maybe I'm sure they'll sneak a little tidbit of him with a cigarette in there somewhere.
Right, or
directors are always able to get away with something.
Yeah, they'll make some kind of mention of it, of him being a reformed smoker or something.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure, because if they're aiming for that prime time 8 o'clock to 9 o'clock time slot, that's the family hour.
Yeah,
you can't
that's
really do
they're
anything offensive at that time
That's
of
what
night.
I was thinking. I'm like, maybe, it depends, like, when are they planning on airing this show kind of thing? Like, is it going to be, geared more towards, like, teens or like the family or the fans who by now are probably a lot older,
Right.
kind of thing.
No, exactly. I think, it's just the safest thing the networks can do. I don't want to hold it against them for, doing something like that. But, like I said, I think the character of John Constantine himself is going to be so brash and so in your face. And people love people like House and Sheldon from Big Bang Theory.
Zinga.
Exactly. I think it's just going to be. I think his attitude is just going to make people forget about the cigarette smoking.
Thing, yeah.
I don't think that's going to have any effect on the comic book. I think he's still going to be a chain smoker there. I'm actually really, really interested in how if Guillermo del Toro, who has went on record to say he wants to direct the Justice League Dark movie, which is
Nice.
pretty much the magic version of the Justice League, and John Constantine is the leader of this misfit group. I wonder if he's going to be able to get him in there. Not only that, they had Frankenstein from I, Frankenstein is in it, and I hope they're not going to have the horrible Aaron Eckhart I, Frankenstein be part of it. Because I am a little worried about how they're going to do it.
Oh, we just got a response to when the show is airing. It'll be at 10 p.m. on Fridays.
All right. Thanks for that shout out there, Will. Always watching our back there. And for those of you who have listened to our show before, which was pre-recorded before, you did hear me and Will on the show as well before. He is my fellow admin from Ryan's All Things Geek on Facebook. So, but yeah, like I said, there's going to be a lot of good things on Constantine. I think getting back to the whole TVs versus movies for the superhero genre, I think we're in this for a while.
Yeah.
I don't see an end to the superhero hype for a while. It seems to be lasting longer than the vampire hype and the zombie hype. That's even starting to die down now. There's starting to be some more zombie movies, but
yeah, what was really annoying me was those rumors going around that they've canceled season 5 of The Walking Dead, and I'm like, no, they haven't, because if you follow the official page, you've got comments coming from the 3 main characters, the guy who plays
Andrew
Rick.
Lincoln, yeah,
and Daryl, my favorite.
yeah, and even Robert Kirkman's come out and debunked those. I think it's kind of funny when they do that.
Not to mention, like, when you watch the season finale of the show, they've already shown you the air date for when season 5 is starting.
Exactly, and there's actually been little snippets or trailers for the upcoming season. So everybody, just don't you worry about it. Walking Dead will be back. No, speaking of will be back, we're just gonna have to take a quick break there for some station ID. And I hope everybody's been enjoying the show. Again, I'm Ryan Fleming. I'm sitting here with Shannon McFarland-Sawchuk, and you're listening to RatG on 103.7 FM, CFBU.
A team of great people helped me beat depression.
In 2000, Toronto Maple Leaf Ron Ellis received a Courage to Come Back award from the Center for Addiction and Mental Health for his defeat of clinical depression.
It was tougher than winning the Stanley Cup.
CAMH, the Center for Addiction and Mental Health, helps people overcome addiction and mental illness. For help, call 1-800-463-6273. CAMH. We are transforming lives.
Chaque lundi de 17 à 18h sur CFBU 103.7 FM. Tic-tac, poétique et portrait avec Clémence Prade, l'émission en français qui vous parle de littérature et d'art et qui fait parler les francophones d'ici, sans oublier la musique.
现在在干什么？有没有听我们的节目？这里是调频103.7兆赫布鲁克大学广播电台 CFBU。
All right, and welcome back to Ryan's All Things Geek, or RatG, on 103.7 FM, CFBU. I'm Ryan Fleming, and I'm here with my co-host this week, Shannon McFarland-Sawchuk.
Hello.
And as usual, we are talking all things geek. And this week, we're heading up all the superhero movies, well, with huge focus on the new Batman v Superman just because of all the casting news as of late. I'm really, like I said, I'm kind of looking forward to this movie. This movie's been getting a lot of heat from all the fans because of the casting choices, because of the previous movie, Man of Steel 2 or Man of Steel 1, with Henry Cavill, and the kind of debauchery that a lot of fans felt it was because it was so against character for Superman himself. Do you have any qualms about when they defer from the actual comic book to the movie? Like how Superman he came off really aggressive in the last movie, and I don't just mean the death scene with Zod, spoiler alert. But honestly, I didn't really find a big problem with it myself. Well, I guess I shouldn't say that because I really did have kind of huge issues, but I do wonder how, you're a Marvel girl, so how much of a casual fan finds trouble with something like that at all?
See, I look at it this way, like, there's been so many, like, different, like, Superman movies, and then Batman, he's been resurrected twice, Spider-Man's now, there's two different main Spider-Mans now. I look at it this way, a director only has the choice, like, they can only go so many ways with a character. They don't want to copy the other director or whatever, so I see it as, they kind of take this iconic character and make it their own spin on everything, and then see who likes it and who doesn't, and then go from error. Hey, it went really well, so you guys are now renewed for another 2 movies, or
right, which makes total sense. Where I guess like start to get a bit of an issue with some of it is when you look at the new Josh Trank movie, the new Fantastic Four that'll be coming out, which is going to be made by the maker of, can't think of the name of it right now.
I don't follow them too much, so. It
was the found footage movie, though, and it was really good with Michael B. Jordan. Chronicle, it was called, the first Chronicle movie. And it was like a found footage movie where these 4 kids go down a hole that they find, and a meteor was down there, and they gain powers.
Oh, yeah.
Right, and it was a pretty good movie, but it was like a la Blair Witch Project, with the found footage. But it was really well done. I guess they're doing the same thing with the new Fantastic Four movie, but they've really, really changed the characters from who they were. So for those of you who aren't familiar with the Fantastic Four, which I'm sure that's 2 people on the planet, they started way back in the 60s, I believe. Stan Lee and Jack Kirby, and that comic is what actually saved comic books at the time, because at the time Marvel Comics was known as Timely Comics, and they were about to close down, and Stan Lee was ready to quit and start whatever new, and his wife had told him, well, before you quit, do 1 comic book your way, just the way you want to do it. And he came out with the Fantastic Four, which is why a lot of people think of them as the first family of comic books. These were Reed Richards, his best friend Ben Grimm, Susan Storm, and her brother Johnny Storm. Yeah, the Storms, right? And the blonde-haired, blue-eyed, everyday American, which was great. And that's what they played up to. Now in this new movie, Johnny Storm and Sue Storm are adopted, like they're not blood related.
Oh, interesting.
Yes, and Johnny Storm's played by Michael B. Jordan, who was the African American or black character from the Chronicle movies.
Oh, okay.
Which to me, doing the race swap thing it's okay if you're doing it for the right reasons, but when people start doing it just for the sake of doing it, for just, hey, we did something different, I've got a bit of a problem with that. And especially when you're looking at something this old and it's so iconic, the Fantastic Four.
Careful there,
Now, what about casual fans though? Is that something that is going to make casual fans upset, or are they just going to be, oh, I'm looking at this as...
I think they probably just see it as another, something to go see and say, yeah, I've seen it, it was this or whatever.
Yeah. And just kind of let it stand on its own merit once it's done there. Yeah, and I've actually heard a lot of people. I've heard more people on that side of the fence than I have on my side of the fence, actually, when it comes to that, because I do think they should still be brother and sister. And not even just the race thing. Like I've actually got just as much of an issue with Sue Storm not being a blonde-haired, blue-eyed girl playing her, And yes, it's just because I'm such a fanboy.
Nerd alert.
Which we all knew if you're listening to the station right now. But when it comes to things like that, and when it comes to them taking more leeway with these characters and with these names. At what point, though, does it no longer become the actual source material? Because if you keep changing it, and now the Fantastic Four movie is going to be like found footage, and they're not calling themselves the Fantastic Four in the movie. Yeah,
Maybe,
their powers are going to be
know.
a little bit different than they are as well, and and they're not going to act according to their character type in any of the stories or movies from before.
Kind of sounds like a film that they pitched to the people with rights, and they said absolutely not.
Yeah.
So you got to kind of rewrite everything there so you don't get nailed with copyright or whatever.
Exactly, which I think is not an easy thing to get across either
No.
with the networks. What I was surprised is that anybody really agreed to it. I know that Marvel is pretty upset with it because they're in talks of actually canceling the Fantastic Four comic book now. Because it's not it's not Marvel that's making the Fantastic Four movie. It's Fox Studios.
Okay. Yeah.
So
well, there you go.
yeah,
Two
exactly.
big beefs right there.
Right, and Fox Studios is always just losing my trust.
Yeah.
If it wasn't first with the cancellation of Firefly back in the
man.
day, I know, and then
Sheldon moment.
more recently, even the great TV show Almost Human that was just on with Carl Urban was fantastic, and Fox just mismanaged that as well, and it got canceled. Didn't even see the light of I think 10 episodes.
Canceled, yeah.
Yeah, and Fox is just kind of notorious for that. So, aside from The Simpsons and Family Guy, you guys have been dropping the ball lately.
Yeah.
We're looking at you, Fox. But to get back kind of on track with at least the comic book based movies and taking leeways and stuff like that, I do you really think, though, like, if they keep changing it and stuff like that, do you think it still should be called what it is, or should they just maybe make a new movie?
I think they should just make a new movie. Like, you can only change an iconic character so much before it becomes what it isn't, and like, you're gonna lose your fan base, or you're gonna create a whole new fan base, a new generation of fans that says, no, our character's better. And then you've got the whole, Jacob Edward thing all over again. I apologize for using a Twilight reference.
Oh. Again, send all your hate mail to Shannon McFarlane, Sawchuck. No, yeah, we could always use a good Twilight reference. No, it's okay, and I do totally agree with you. I think you take so much away from the actual characters, and you're not using that same story. All you're doing is creating two sides of the originals, the people who watched and followed the actual real story, we could say, or the original story, and then you're creating the new fans, and the new fans are going to know nothing about the old story or what actually made them be who they are, and you're always going to have that. My Johnny Storm's tougher than your Johnny Storm, or my Spider-Man's tougher than your Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Because the one thing I will give to Warner Brothers and DC is, they've made a million Batman movies, but the one thing that's always stayed constant with them is Batman's always been Batman.
Yeah, Batman.
he's always, his parents were gunned down in an alley somewhere, and this is all about, really, it's just a revenge story.
Yeah.
And I think as long as you stick to that, and you stick to it being Bruce Wayne under the mask, you've stuck to the story and you stay true. From there, you can take your liberties. You want to switch up the origin a little bit, or you want to switch some of the stories around. Fine by me, and that's putting your own niche or your own little spin on it, like Christopher Nolan. Those Batman movies were great, but I consider those to be the Nolan-verse Batmans.
Yeah.
Which is rooted in more realism than comic. And then you had the Tim Burton and Michael Schumacher ones. Yes, I'm sorry I brought up Schumacher. We won't talk about the bat nipples on George Clooney either.
Oh, God.
But yeah, no, it's and that one was more of the comic book and the cartoon style that you get used to. And that, for me, it's just a great example of people putting their own twist on it and giving their own story, but still staying faithful to the source material. And I do wish we can get more of that with the Fantastic Four movie and with the Man of Steel movie, and hopefully Batman v Superman is more true to the source material at all. But with that in mind, we're just going to take our last quick break of the show. We'll be right back with you guys. You're listening to RatG with Ryan Fleming and my guest co-host this week, Shannon McFarlane, Sawchuck. And don't forget to check us out on Ryan's All Things Geek on Facebook. Talk to you soon, folks.
A team of great people helped me beat depression.
In 2000, Toronto Maple Leaf Ron Ellis received a Courage to Come Back award from the Center for Addiction and Mental Health for his defeat of clinical depression.
It was tougher than winning the Stanley Cup.
CAMH, the Center for Addiction and Mental Health, helps people overcome addiction and mental illness. For help, call 1-800-463-6273. CAMH. We're transforming lives.
Chaque lundi de 17 à 18h sur CFBU 103.7 FM.
现在在干什么？
avec
有没有听我们的节目？这里是调频103.7兆赫布鲁克大学广播电台 CFBU。
All right, and welcome back to Ryan's All Things Geek, RatG. You're listening to myself, Ryan Fleming, and my guest co-host this week, the pop culture graduate from Brock University herself, Shannon McFarlane Sawchuck.
Hello.
Thanks so much for coming on. It's been really been good to have you on.
No problem. It's been fun.
Yeah, this is a nice little sit down chat and talking about our pop culture for this week. Now, we've been doing a lot of talk, like I said, about the movies that are coming out our way when it comes to, superheroes, mostly about the Batman v Superman. It's going to be great. One thing I did want to bring up is the DC most recently announced lineup that they're going to be coming out with. And this was announced at the last big Comic-Con that they had. What's coming up is, obviously, we all know, as we were talking about, Batman v Superman for 2016. Another one I'm excited about. I'm a little worried to see how they're going to do it because he's so similar to Superman. But in 2016, we're going to have a Shazam movie. For you old school comic book fans, that's Captain Marvel, who has the power of Shazam. He just calls himself Shazam now in the new 52 comic books. Now, there's a lot of rumors that that's going to be played by The Rock, Dwayne Johnson. Now, I could see him as the adult Captain Marvel because for those of you who don't know, Captain Marvel is Shazam. His secret identity is Billy Batson, a 10-year-old boy.
I think I've briefly seen him in like the cartoons a little bit, and I'm like, who is this?
Yeah, and he's a squeaky clean kid, comes from Fawcett City, never does any wrong, and he says the magical word Shazam, and he turns into Captain Marvel, or in the new 52 comic books of DC, he turns into Shazam himself. The Rock's an interesting idea. I like him a lot better if he was playing Captain Marvel's arch enemy, Black Adam.
Okay.
Who is just the most BA bad guy out there, at least for my money. He's one of my favorites. After that, Christmas of 2016, we have Sandman announced. That's another former Vertigo title that's kind of DC's taken over. I've heard that Joseph Gordon-Levitt's attached to that one. Now, I don't know if he's going to play the title character of Sandman or not, but it's going to be a really interesting movie, and I think it's going to be very dark because that's just the type of character Sandman is. And then we come to May of 2017, and this is the one we're both looking forward to. What's that one we got, Shannon?
Justice League.
Yes, finally the Justice League movie. I'm hoping we're going to have the Martian Manhunter in this movie as well.
I hope so.
I think there's enough room for him, Cyborg. Well, let's go through it. I'd like to see Cyborg in the movie.
Yeah.
I think he's a must. Seems always going to be in Batman v Superman. Wonder Woman's got to be in it.
Oh yeah.
We know Aquaman will be in it because of Jason Momoa.
Yep.
Batman.
Definitely.
Maybe a Robin.
That would be nice.
Yeah.
I'd like to see Robin.
Who would you like to see play Robin? Is there anyone you could see playing the part?
No, I don't know. Maybe.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of the kid that played Percy Jackson.
Yeah.
Logan
yeah.
Lerner. I think he'd make a really good Tim
Robin.
Drake. Yeah, Robin. So we've got them, Aquaman, Martian Manhunter, and the Flash and Green Lantern.
Yeah.
maybe throw in the Green Arrow if we can somehow. Be great if we could get Stephen Amell, but they've already said there's no way they could do the
Yeah.
crossover, which is too bad because he does that role perfectly.
Oh, yeah.
So the Justice League is going to be a huge movie. And then we've got a movie coming out after that I am absolutely shocked we've never had a movie with this character ever before. To me, it makes no sense. It should have been done a long time ago.
Yeah.
And that's Wonder Woman. How have you not had a Wonder Woman movie with all these other superhero movies that have been out, say, since Blade
No.
or
She's-
the original X-Men movie?
Yeah.
Like,
I'm gonna say maybe she's an iconic character, but maybe, I don't know, audiences maybe tend to more favor the big action male characters.
right. Now, do you think
So-
it's just purely a female thing, or do you think it's more of they don't know how to pull off the costume, or they don't know how to pull off the story of the Amazon getting
Probably
over
it
here?
could be maybe a mix of both there. Like
Yeah.
they don't know how it'll be with audiences, and like we were talking about before with the costume. Like what do we do with her? Do we put her in her iconic, half?
Yeah, and I'm not a female. I've never worn a bustier, but most times I've seen a woman wear that. If she raises her
can't
hands above,
fight in
if you
that.
raise your hands above your head, doesn't it drop and you reveal the girls to the world? So I would say it's a dangerous prospect for most people that way.
I'd like to see a new twist on her costume.
Yeah, and I think you'd have to. I think you'd have to put her in pants of some sort, And like you said, when she's in battle, I think she'd be in the traditional, almost like the Roman warriors or the 300 warriors wearing all decaled in their army outfit.
Yeah.
So yeah, Wonder Woman, like I said, I can't believe that hasn't come out yet, but that's slated for July 2017. Christmas that year, we're going to get our first Brave and the Bold type movie, which for comic book fans know, that's when they used to take one iconic character, hero with another iconic hero and mash them up in a book together. And we're getting a Flash and Green Lantern movie. The two of them teamed up, which will be great. And that's going to be followed up in 2018 with Man of Steel 2. Now, I don't know if we'll still have Henry Cavill at that point. As most know, I'm not a big fan of his. He's an all right actor, don't get me wrong. I just don't know why they couldn't have got someone from North America, the Midwest, to play the Midwestern.
Yeah.
Even from, someone from Calgary or someone from Montana or something.
Yeah.
But, but the studio seemed to love him, and I'm sure it'll still be Henry Cavill. Any of those that tickle your fancy off the bat?
Definitely Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
I'm ready for a kick butt female film.
Now, you think they go 300 style there? That's what I think. I think it'd be really
I think they
like
might, yeah.
yeah, war
do her
style.
whole origin story and stuff, and that may or may not, solve the whole costume issue. How do we portray her kind of thing if you go the 300 way style and
Right.
get into her culture and how she was kind of born.
Yeah.
Then maybe at the end of the film switch her to her costume that she does when she's with the Justice League.
Right. Which is a good idea. It's going to be a tricky proposition for whoever tackles that movie or whoever they get as a director. I'm very intrigued and interested to see how it does turn out, though, because I think it's like I said, it's long overdue that they've done this movie.
Yeah.
And I think even more so than that, I really want to see what Gal Gadot does with this character.
Yeah.
I hope they give her carte blanche with it. I hope they really let her show her acting abilities. Because we haven't seen them really too much in the Fast and the Furious movies or any of her other stuff, because most of it's been foreign, so I haven't seen too much of it. But for them to hire her, she's got to have something.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm very excited. I think we're heading to a great place, and I hope everybody else is really excited for what's coming on. I want to thank everybody who listened to our show this week, everyone who listened online. I know there's a lot of geeks out there from Ryan's All Things Geek page that were listening from across the continent. Some of you guys even listening in Europe. I want to say thank you to all of you for taking your time out today to listen to us. I want to send out a great, big, huge thanks to Shannon McFarland Sawchuk, our recent pop culture grad from Brock University right here. And, I hope you had a good time.
I did. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, we'll have you out again soon.
Awesome.
All right, and we'll keep doing this for everybody. And I just wanted to say thanks again to everybody for listening. Remember, you're listening to RatG. You can follow our page on Facebook at Ryan's All Things Geek. And you can listen to us here on the radio at 103.7 FM, CFBU, or you can listen to us online at cfbu.ca. Thanks a lot to everybody, and I hope you all have a great night.
Yeah, black magic.